Hi friends, my name is Niman and I welcome you all to this video tutorial. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can do the IP addressing and the subnetting of the routers. In the previous video tutorials, I showed you how we can change the host name, how we can configure banners, description, enable passwords for console, VTY line, and the auxiliary line, and how we can encrypt them. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can basically do the IP addressing and the subnetting of the network. For that, we have to understand what basically this IP address means and what subnetting means. And if you want to understand it in a very in a better manner, I have explained it quantitatively in the description, and I hope you will try to understand it in a better way. Now, before we can do this IP addressing and subnetting, we have to form a network. I'll choose a router C3745, which is a Cisco iOS device, and I'll drag it here. Waiting for it to load. I'll drag another router C3745 over here, and then I'll select Ethernet switches with which we can connect the end devices. Now I'll select two end devices to form a network so that I can show you how we can do this IP addressing and subnetting. Okay, now we'll connect this network. I'll use the serial ports 0/0, 0/0. Routers are connected by serial cables. Now I'll connect this router to switch 1 with the help of the fast Ethernet port, and this switch to the host, and this router using fast Ethernet ports 0/0 to this switch, and this switch to the host. Now I'll start the devices. Before configuring, we have to start all of the devices. Now let's start the configuration. Let's start this with the router 1. We have to open the console of the router 1. It is loading the initial configuration of the router. It will take a moment. Okay. It is loading the additional configuration. Okay, now we can start the configuration. Right now we are in the privilege mode of the router, and to start the IP addressing and the subnetting, we have to understand that the IP addresses are of three classes, three types: Class A, Class B, and Class C. And the subnet is used to divide this IP address into two parts, which is the network area and the host area. It increases the efficiency of the routing and also divides the network into smaller subnetworks. Now, before we can start the IP addressing, let's try to figure out what ports do we have in this router. For that, we have to write the command show IP int brief. The command is show IP int brief, which is highlighted here. I'm just trying to show you. And now you have to press enter. After we press enter, it is showing us the ports that are available in this router. As you can see, the ports available are fast Ethernet port 0/0, serial port, fast Ethernet 0/1, and many others. And also you can see that there is no assignment of IP addresses. So we have to do the IP addressing. We have to assign the IP addresses to these Ethernet ports. Okay, now as you know, the Ethernet port which is connected to the switch 1 is fast Ethernet 0/0. So we have to assign an IP address to this fast Ethernet port. For that, we have to enter into the fast Ethernet interface, and for that we have the command interface fast Ethernet. Before that, we'll go into the configuration mode with the command config t, which I have taught you in the earlier tutorials. Now we'll press enter. And now in the configuration mode, we have to enter into the sub mode, that is into the interface fast Ethernet 0/0. For that, we have to write the command interface fast Ethernet 0/0. The command is interface fast Ethernet 0/0. We have to enter into the sub mode of the fast Ethernet 0/0 to assign an IP address to this port. Now press enter. Here, as you can see, we are in the sub mode of the interface. To assign the IP address, we have to first choose the IP address we want to use. Here I'll choose class C. So to enter the IP address, I have to write the command IP address. The IP address that I want to assign, say 192.168.1.1. This is a class C IP address, and this is explained in a detailed manner in description. And then I have to add the subnetting. Subnetting is a 32-bit address. Okay, this is the class C IP address. So the subnetting will consider of 24 bits of network area and only 8 bits of host area. So the subnetting will be 255.255.255. It will range from 0 to 255. Let's say it's 0. Okay, the command is IP address, choose the IP address, and then select the subnetting and press enter. Now the IP address is configured. The port is off, the link is down, so we have to put this link on the working mode, that is the on mode. So for that, we have to write the command no shutdown. Press enter. Now as we are in the configuration mode of the this interface fast Ethernet. Now we have to save this, that is build this configuration. For that, we will move one step back, that is into the configuration mode. We'll write the command exit and press enter. Now we're in the configuration mode, and here we'll save this configuration with the help of the command do show run. These things I have already showed in the previous tutorial. Now we'll press enter, and the configuration is being built. I'll have to move down. Here, as you can see, fast Ethernet port interface fast Ethernet has been assigned with the IP address 192.168.1.1, and the subnetting has been also assigned to it. This was how we could assign IP address to the fast Ethernet port 0/0. Similarly, we'll have to configure this port, which is the serial port 0/0. Over here where the cursor is, this is the link from R1 port serial/0/0 to R2 port serial/0/0. So we'll configure this this port now, and for configuring, we'll go into the command line. A moment before this configuration is loaded. Okay. We are in the configuration mode of this router again. Now what we have to do is we have to enter into the interface serial ports 0/0. For that we'll write the command which I already showed you, interface, but there it was fast Ethernet port and here it's a serial port, so we'll write serial 0/0 and press enter. Okay, now after this we have to assign the IP address which we already discussed, and for that we have to write the command IP address, choose the IP address, say I'm choosing class C again, 192.168.network2 because there's a change in the network as I'm using the router. So I'll select, say, network 2.1. Okay, and now I'll choose the subnet 255.255.255 as this is the class C IP address .252. This can range from 0 to 255. I'm choosing 252 and then I'll press enter. The IP address is configured for the serial port 0/0. Now I'll state this link up. That is, I'll put it on working mode. For that I'll write the command no shutdown. It's no shutdown. And then I'll press enter. I'll go back to the configuration mode so that I can save this configuration by writing the command do wr. The configuration is built. Now we'll just see if this IP address is configured again or not. For that we'll write the command do show do show IP int brief. Here is the command do show IP int brief to see if the IP address is configured, and then I'll press enter. As you can see, for fast Ethernet port of this router which we configured earlier, the IP address is assigned as 192.168.1.1, and for the serial port, that is 0/0, the IP address configured is 192.168.2.1. So we are done with the two ports. I'll show you here. With this port, which is the fast Ethernet port, and this port, which is the serial port, we are done with configuring IP addressing and subnetting of these two ports. Now we'll switch to router 2 and continue in the same way. We'll open the console. First we'll see which ports we have to configure. We have to configure serial port 0/0 and fast Ethernet port 0/0. Okay, as this network here, this network here is in the same network, that is network 2, which I chose for the serial port 0/0 for R1. I'll choose the IP address for the R2 here as 2.2 because this is the same network. This is the network between two routers. I'll open the console. I'll open the console. I'll move into the configuration mode, and then I'll go into the interface, fast Ethernet 0/0. Okay, now I'll assign IP address which is 192.168.3.1. This I'm choosing as class C, and then I'll choose a subnet .0. This can range from 0 to 255, and then we can press enter. Now I like to put this link on the working mode. For that I'll write the command no shutdown and press enter. Okay, it will take a moment. Yes, as you can see, the link is up. The state of this link is up and it's changed. So what we'll do is we'll just go back. Now we'll go into the interface of the serial port. Interface serial. This I showed you already for router 1. I'm trying to show you this again for the router 2 also, so that you can be more clear about how we do this IP addressing of this network. And the port is 0/0. Now we have to choose the IP address. Remember, the two networks are in two routers are in the same network here, so I have to choose the IP address as 192.168.2. I'll choose 2. It is in the same network, that is network 2. Okay, now I'll choose the subnetting, say 255.255.255.252, and then I'll press enter. Okay, here I'll have to put this link on the working mode. For that I'll write the command no shutdown and press enter. Now I'll go back into the configuration mode and I'll save this configuration. Okay, to see if the IP addresses are assigned or not, I'll go into the interfaces. For that I'll use the command do show IP int brief. This I showed you for router 1, and I'll show you this for the router 2 also. Press enter. Okay, here as you can see, for the interface fast Ethernet port, that is here, the IP address is assigned as 3.1, and for the serial port, that is here, the IP address is assigned as 2.2. So here we're done with the IP addressing of the two routers. As you can see here, we first did the IP addressing for this port, fast Ethernet port 0/0, then for this port, which is fast Ethernet port, serial port 0/0, then this port and this port. So in this video tutorial, we learned how we can do the IP addressing and subnetting of the different ports in a network for routers. Also, we understood what subnetting is, what IP addressing is, and how we can create subnets. I'll explain more configuration modes in the next tutorial. I hope you're able to understand this all. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you very much.